Cool. Thank you.
Question. What is it?
Oh, shit, I forgot. Second question. I just want to ask, there's something that I always wanted to ask you when it came to your art direction in Jax. Why such a giant change from Jax 1 to 2?
That was an attempt on our part to find the market. I think that again, the design we did on Jack 1 kind of fell in this weird mishmash that kind of seemed odd to people in America. It seemed odd to people in Japan. It didn't really satisfy anybody. And we looked at the market at that time. There's no question that Grand Theft Auto, which was completely unpredictable as a phenomenon when we started Jack, had become a massive phenomenon. And we just said to ourselves, okay, if we could redesign Jack and Daxter for what we want and completely ignore what anybody else might like, what would it look like? And Jack became a little bit harder core. He just became a little more adult, a little more edgy. Additionally, another bad decision I make, I'm bringing them all up, I didn't want Jack to speak because I had played Gex and didn't like Gex, sorry guys. A lot of the Gex guys worked on the Naughty Dog team, so I can say this. I didn't want a character that you played that spoke and made a joke that you didn't like because that distances you from the character. When the character you're playing says something you're not into, you're like, that's not me, that's a character I have to play. So I wanted Jack to be silent so that you could be Jack. Daxter can be a pain in the neck, you can say anything, you can be like, this guy's a fucking idiot, but he's my sidekick. It's not me, I'm Jack. So that was a mistake, and Jack came off, I think, very weak because of it. And with Jack 2, we wanted to give him a voice, but I wasn't willing to jump into the full voice. So Jack is kind of, he says plain vanilla stuff that won't offend you, but he has a personality, kinda. So he says, yeah, we're gonna go do that. Oh, really? And things like, he has no personality, but at the same time he speaks. And we're trying as hard as we could to kind of straddle the line that eventually we just, as an industry, I think, we finally got it right, and characters now have full dialogue and you don't hate them. We became better writers. We became better at allowing the characters to do that. But that's a long answer for why we changed the look between Jack 1 and Jack 2.
All right, that was a great question.
Did you like it or not like it, actually, if the caller's still on the line?
He is not.
Sorry.
Sadness.
Well, I'm sure he'll message.
We have
Suma.
many callers though.
Suma, let him know. Hopefully, what his answer was. Caller, welcome to the program. You got a question for Jason?
Yes, I do. Whenever you had Crash or Jack down on a piece of paper, or like he was like a brainchild of yours, was there ever a moment when you went, "Oh my God, this is it. This is going to be spectacular"?
Oh, there's lots of moments when you say that. And unfortunately, they're only outweighed by the times that you play the game and you notice every flaw because you're the developer that no one else is going to notice. And you say, the grass is just wrong and this is going to fail. And making games is an extremely emotional experience. So for every high, there's a low. And at the end of the day, I mean, imagine this. You put it on the shelf and you just wait for the average of the world to give you an opinion, right? Some people are going to love it. You know that. No matter how bad it is, someone's going to love it. Someone's going to hate it no matter how good it is. So you wait to get the average of what the world thinks, and that's going to determine whether or not you entertained or you didn't entertain the people that you wanted to entertain. And that moment is, you think, I got it, this is the character, it's going to work well, but at the same time you are so nervous because you can see the flaws, it's too late to fix, no game's perfect, no game will ever be perfect.
So can you talk about some of the
very frightening.
Can you talk about some of the issues that maybe gamers don't necessarily know about or ever see that affect making a game, that personal barriers that developers have to overcome? Because a lot of the time I feel maybe developers get the blame unnecessarily on a lot of things when really they're getting a lot of pressure from publishers. They have to get the game out in a certain time. Are there a lot of things like that the gamers don't necessarily see or know about that you would like them to know about?
Oh, well, every situation's different. At the end of the day, the developer is responsible for the title they make. And you can complain that the marketing wasn't as good as it could have been, but a good title should rise to the top on its own. So I take full responsibility as a developer for anything I ever developed. If I'm under pressure, it's my obligation to fight like a rat bastard to make that pressure go away. and to make it clear that as a developer, I'm going to make the title that I believe needs to come out.
Amen.
There's certainly bad situations. There have been horrible situations when developers have tried to do that, and they have been told you have to bump up the deadline by 6 months, or your budget's been cut by 20%. There are terrible stories out there. On the other side, there are inspirational stories of publishers saying, we believe in this, we're going to give you more to do better, and we're going to market it with a bigger budget, and we're going to help you in any way we can. How can we do that? There are huge numbers of pressures. Things, the worst case scenario, I will say that, the worst case scenario is that you run into a wall of gameplay that can't be fixed. And that does happen, where you've designed the game around a theory about what people are going to like when they're playing it. And you get to a specific point, you've spent a lot of effort on the game, and you realize this isn't going to work. And that happens with the first of every game that we did. Crash 1,
wow.
There were things we did, and we got halfway through, and we realized it wasn't going to work. And sometimes the simplest things fix it. I'll give you an example from Crash 1. The boxes, the crates that made Crash, named Crash, that are Crash, were not put in until Alpha. Alpha is a point of the game where you're theoretically
You're done with the
but there are a
content,
lot of
yeah.
boxes.
Right.
They went in a February. The game came out that holiday season in September. It had been in development for over 1.5 years before they went in. So we looked at the game, and I just said, we can't put more than a certain number of enemies on the screen because the PlayStation 1 can't handle it. We can't therefore make the game that much denser. There's too much distance between things. People need something to do. Let's build these crates. And we put these crates in. Andy and the artist
That's
that
awesome.
put the crates in. And I remember the producer came in and